And Billy Parker.
That's pretty easy there.
Are you ready for Thanksgiving?
Well, I will enjoy having a couple days off. Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to spending some time with family.
Yes.
And I enjoy brining the turkey and doing the turkey the honors.
Yeah, like you, I'm looking forward to a couple of days off. Nice little break before the rest of the holiday madness begins.
No, you get to Thanksgiving, then you sneeze and it's Christmas.
Yep.
So it is my understanding that, Judge, that you cut the turkey.
No, I brine it, and then I got a little bit of a recipe that I've used for a long time, and I rub it with got some a rub that I put on it, and then I roast it. I'm a traditional roaster, but I like to roast it in a bag. I think the bag makes it keeps it juicy.
All right.
But brining it really makes it is the whole key to it.
Well, I'm glad to know that you are not cutting it, because after having you in class and watching you dissect frogs, I don't think you want to be cut that.
We'll treat this turkey a little bit more respectful than frog.
I tell you what, the things that you would get from watching the recordings of these meetings, I mean,
I couldn't pass on that. You got to take those when you can, because you don't get those very often.
Yeah. Makes it all worthwhile.
Hey, with that said, then we will, Mr. Parker's humor will call this meeting to order of the Georgetown Scott County Revenue Commission. This is a special called meeting. Today is Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. Let the record reflect that Mayor Jenkins, Superintendent Parker, and myself are present, and we have a quorum to hold the meeting. We will then move down to number 3, approval of minutes from last meeting, 10/23/24. Those were shared by Mr. Hall via email. Are there any questions to those minutes, and would there be a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 4.
Judge, can everybody see the minutes that I put up there?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes. With that said, then we'll move to number 4. I'll let Scott take over from here. We have 3 refunds in excess of $10,000 for review, discussion, and approval. It's 3 separate entities.
Thank you, Judge. Yes. The first refund here is $60,000. This is an unusual amount. Most of them aren't this high. You can see the city county school board splits. What has happened here is this taxpayer, when they sent in their estimated net profit tax payments, they have now merged with another firm. So they filed their final return, and they are requested, which created a large credit balance. And so they are requesting a refund. We've reviewed the account, and our recommendation to commissioners is that you approve it. But I also want you to understand, in these scenarios, these are not uncommon scenarios. When the new owners come in, they file their estimated payments or their first net profit return. We'll get part or all of that $60,000 back.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion on the floor.
Second that.
We have a second. Any other questions or comments? And just to clarify, the motion is to approve the refund as recommended by staff. So we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Now we'll move on to the second one.
Yes, this refund is for $13,685.69. You can see the city, county, and school board portions of that refund. In this scenario, it's due to the taxpayer remitting large estimated net profit tax payments for tax year 2023. The large estimated payments exceeded their actual tax liability on net profits for the year, which created a large credit balance, just on as is on the case on the last one. Taxpayer has requested a full refund of the credit balance. We did a complete audit review, as we always do on these requests, and staff recommends that the commissioners approve this refund for $13,685.69. And the refund, as is always the case for any refund over $10,000, will be held pending commissioners' approval.
I'll make a motion to approve that as presented. Would there be a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes, and we'll move to the third.
And the third and final one this month, the exact same scenario is the last one, the $13,000 refund, except this one is $10,864.40. You see the city, county, and school board portions. Exact same scenario. Their net profit estimated payments exceeded the actual tax liability, which created a large credit, and they've requested a refund of that credit. Staff has done a complete audit review of the account, and we recommend to the commissioners that you approve this refund of $10,864.40.
Questions or comments, and would there be a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion on the
As
floor.
presented.
Second.
I have a second. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all for navigating through those. We'll move to number 5, scanning and digitization project update with John. I did that last meeting. We're gonna have to get done with this project.
Yeah,
It's
just so
a
you know, I
tough
hate
one.
trying to say that word as well. So
I know I
I
stumble
feel
over
for
it
you.
too.
So just a quick update on that. The big thing, it's coming along as it should be. We're quickly approaching 50% of our accounts fully digitized. Of course, all the files are out of the building. They're stored off-site right now. The big thing, we had a couple of system updates go in place a couple weeks ago that has really turbocharged what we're doing. We're able to automatically distribute those scans to the appropriate file. We're actually storing them on our FileMaker accounting system as well as a separate server just as a backup. All those documents are automatically scanned, distributed to where they go, and there's a log created of when they were moved and where they're currently stored. Just in case anything ever happens, we can go back and figure out where they ended up. We're also able to now automatically scan and distribute our withholding filings. So for example, our largest payroll provider, that process would typically take anywhere from 27 to 30 hours to completely process. That's now down to roughly 5 to 6 hours. So big turnaround on that. And our analysts don't even have to touch it. Everything's done in the background on the computers. And that's really most of the time on that is just the processing time. So it's coming along nicely. So far, the feedback from the staff has been great. They love that they don't have to drag and drop all these documents or worry about going through all these different withholding filings, manually entering all those in. Any questions on that?
No, that is a major task and a big benefit. Appreciate all the work on that, and thanks for the update. Any other questions?
Judge, I'll just add that John did a great training on that last week. We had the whole team in the conference room and went over that, and everybody's really excited about these changes.
Awesome.
Yeah, the staff has been absolutely amazing, just embracing all these changes, these updates, running with them, asking the right questions when they're not sure about something, and then in turn it gives me some ideas on how we can improve some of the processing as well. The next thing we have up is the rollout of our new website created by KLC. They have been a tremendous partner on this, working with us the last several months, getting everything just right. The new website is definitely focused on the taxpayer experience. They come to that homepage. It's got everything they could possibly want. I believe Scott's pulling it up. Yep. You should be able to see it right there on your screen. They've got access to all of our forms right from there. Any alerts, news updates are right there on the homepage, important filing deadlines that are coming up. If they need to know anything about our regs, our ordinances, past audit information, they can access all that straight from the homepage. The biggest part of that is the forms. They're all fillable. They all automatically calculate the tax due just based on the taxpayer's input. So we don't have to worry about any kind of math errors. If somebody struggles with percentages, we're still good. It takes care of all that for them. There's also the opportunity for us to review a filing submitted online and either reject it or send it back to the taxpayer for further information or additional payment. We don't have to wait for several days for things to be passed through the mail, maybe not even potentially get to the taxpayer. We can handle it all right there from the website. Oh, yes, and then the About Us page, it has information about the Revenue Commission as well as name, email addresses for any of the contacts here at the commission.
Very nice.
I'll add a couple things, Judge, if I can.
Yes,
First
sir.
of all, our current website, if we have to make changes like add or delete photos, like when the city hall's done, we'll need a new photo of that. We're going to take a photo here of our offices here. We don't have a photo of that. We do have the courthouse, and as you saw, the Board of Education sign there. So we're going to, in the past, we would have to send an email to our managed services provider and wait for them to make the changes or ask questions or whatever. The vast majority of this is now under our control. Is that correct, John?
That is correct. There's a couple of things I still have to go to KLC for, but that's more of the high-end stuff as far as updating some of the calculations on the forms, stuff like that. But as far as the appearance of anything, that's something we can handle on our end fairly quickly. So if for some reason there's an emergency, snowstorm comes in, we need to close the office, we can post that right on the website in seconds, and the taxpayers would be informed if they would go to the website.
And also, when they do their online payments with this new, with the KLC product here, in the past with the vendor we were using, the rates of what the percentage would be if they used a MasterCard versus a MasterCard debit card versus a Visa, the rates were all different. Now it's the same rate no matter what card you use, which is a lot easier for the taxpayers. And then, of course, we'll maintain our most popular feature, which is the flat fee $1.95 for an e-check. That's the most commonly used electronic payment. So that's a big improvement as well.
No, absolutely. Any other questions or comments? Appreciate that update, and that's very, very good. Number 7, we'll stay with John.
All right. Yes,
CISA
sir.
RPT update.
So we did get our final report from CISA regarding the remote pen testing. In that report, they have 12 findings for us to address, and then in 90 days, we're going to get back with them, review those 12 findings, and go over what processes or steps we took to mitigate those findings they have. The big thing from this, though, that is really great, the timing on it, is it gives us an opportunity to go to our current MSP VC3 and go over, okay, here's the issues we're seeing. Here's what CISA found. This is what needs to be corrected. But at the same time, we can also go to James with 13 layers and start discussing with them, okay, what are you all doing to make sure we don't run into these issues in the future? I'm sure Scott will probably have some insight on that as well.
Yeah, it was a very, very valuable process. I know Superintendent Parker, you mentioned your CIO, you guys are in the midst of getting ready to do that. It's just such a great learning experience, and gives you a little bit of a warm and fuzzy. You sleep a little bit better at night knowing what the vulnerabilities are and what steps you need to take and the recommendations that they make. So that all in all, I think John would agree it was a very positive experience, and we would do it again. We'd do it again in a heartbeat.
John and Scott, is this like an internal audit that's being done for you all?
Actually, Mayor, it's an external audit done by CISA, the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, which is a division of the Department of Homeland Security. And because we're government agencies, all of us, they do it for free. There's no cost to us. You could hire a third-party vendor to do this, but it would cost you probably tens of thousands of dollars. So it's a great resource for us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, we will turn it over to Scott for the renovation project 2024 update and photos.
Yes, I'm happy to report that the renovations are complete. They finished up the last of it last week. Due to operator error, I was not able to show you photos, but we're going to try that again this week. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the before. You know, we had all these file cabinets taking up all this space. And then the file cabinets were gone. As John mentioned, we moved them to offsite storage with the files that were in them as well. And so then we had all this nice empty space. And then the first step was the vendor came in and started installing the 2 cubicles. We've got one in this space and another in the pass-through between our 2 units here, if you're familiar with the building. So they actually put 2 of those together. So that was the first step. And then last week they finished up building the enclosed office here. We needed another enclosed office due to our new general counsel coming in. And then that's what, you know, you can see John, where he's sitting now is here. This is the final piece where they came in and delivered the hutch and the desk for that office. So, and then the last photo I want to show you is, you might be saying, well, what happened to all those file cabinets and files? Well, here they are. This is a climate controlled, secure offsite storage facility. You can see all of the empty file cabinets are lining the walls in a great big horseshoe shape here. And then all these file boxes, they're all numbered. We know what's in them, so we can go pull them either if we need a file for a taxpayer or if, as we're going through and digitizing all these files. And I think what we calculate, John, so far we're averaging about 9 or 10 boxes a month we're digitizing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So eventually all these boxes that are also kind of arranged in a horseshoe here, they'll be gone, and then we'll have a bunch of empty file cabinets. Pam, our office manager, did a great job, did a lot of digging, and I think every single one of these file cabinets has keys for the locks except 2. So again, once these are gone and the file cabinets are empty in here, we'll be putting out the call again if anybody wants them free to a good home. And we'll be putting that out, letting you know. And this is where they are. This is what they look like. We'll make arrangements for people to go pick them up if any of the city, county, or school board folks want them. If not, we'll just put them on public auction and hope that they sell so we can see the unit. So
Sounds good. Scott, where did you all order your desks and hutch from?
KDA
Gotcha.
in Lexington, they have a state contract. We're able to piggyback on that and get a good rate on that. They did all of the work when we first moved in here 3 years ago, and we went back to them and took good care of us this time. Came out, took a lot of measurements.
Probably a different division, but if I believe that's who, if it's the same one, that's who we used for
Yeah.
New Scott County High School.
Yeah, they do a lot of schools as well. Yes.
Yeah, super impressed with them. Yep.
Was it KDA or KPA?
KDA.
Okay.
D as in David. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I can send you the contact info on that if you'd like.
That'd be great. Thank you. With that said, if there's no other questions, then Scott will go to number 9, new general counsel.
Yes.
Update.
Yes. So we had a phone prep meeting with our new general counsel on Monday. He starts on Monday the 25th, which is next week. We're excited. He's excited to come on board. His name is Philip Ratliff. The December meeting, you'll get to meet him. That'll be his first meeting with us. His first order of business, we have a list of priorities for him to start after we do some training and things of that nature, is to review the interlocal agreement with KCGC so we can get that on Madison County's agenda. I think it'll have to have 2 readings with fiscal court before that's finalized, and then we'll be ready to make that transition to our new MSP. So that'll be priority number 1. But we're really looking forward to him coming on board and us getting back on track with the general counsel in-house.
Sounds great.
John, you want to add anything to that?
No, I think everybody's really looking forward to working with Philip. Has immense amounts of knowledge that we definitely don't currently have. So it'll be nice to have him as a resource and be able to bounce things off of him and give a little bit more teeth behind some of our collection efforts.
Yeah, and Mayor, I did want to give another shout out to you and thank you for allowing Devin to be so generous with her time. She was very involved in the process, whether it was reviewing all the applications and resumes, sitting in on the first and second interviews. She also suggested, which we thought was a great idea, to get some writing samples from the final candidate. So that really worked out really well. We felt a lot better and a lot more comfortable with her being involved in that and having her expertise. And that was a real game changer for us, and we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Well, she has a very unique skill set when it comes to things like that. She has a, she's very valuable in getting good input and good suggestions, and she's pretty sharp to be as young as she is. So
Yeah.
I'm glad I got her. And she's
Yeah.
not up for sale, so don't you all think
No.
about trying to woo
No.
away from her. That's why I
We-
pay her real well.
Well,
Stay with me.
no, our general counsel's starting Monday, so we're not coming.
Okay, that's good. Then I'm glad to hear that. Thank
But
you.
yes, but her insights were invaluable. I mean, they really
Yes, she is. Thank you.
and I think a very big part of helping us make the right decision.
I'll be sure to pass the word on to her.
Thank you.
Very good. Now we'll move to general discussion number 10.
Okay. So these are the items that require no board action. They're pretty much information only. No new projects for October on the Cabinet for Economic Development, although in November, I think we're going to have 2 of those grant in aid, those training consortiums. Those come up every once in a while. Doesn't affect occupational tax, but we will be on the report you'll see next month. The KJRA, that was attached to the information I sent Friday. It's the same every month. Review that. If you have any questions, let me know. I will let you know that we do have another employer in town that has had a KBI project, which is similar to the KJRA. It's a 1% wage credit for new jobs that they create here in Georgetown and Scott County. They kind of dropped out of the picture during COVID-21, somewhere in 2021. I sent out some emails. I checked with Frankfurt. They said, no, they're not suspended or anything. They're in good standing. But I think they had some turnover, some staffing issues maybe. Well, now they're kind of getting back up to speed, so we're doing catch up on those. So I'm working with them directly to try to get them caught back up. I checked with Frankfurt. They said yes, as long as the project is still valid, they can go back and get caught up on those. It's just, I guess the person that was handling it left, and the ball just kind of got dropped. So I'll be sharing some of that information with you once we get all those caught up. It's nothing on the order of of the KJRA. The numbers are much smaller. But it is a project that is approved. The water company, they have a vendor that handles all their fire detection systems. Last week, they also came in and added 2 smoke detectors for us. During Fire Prevention Week, we realized that we didn't have any smoke detectors. And of course, we had the city fire marshal, Ellen Willett, I believe is her name, came over and took a tour, made some suggestions. And what we opted to do with the working with Sean and Chase over at the water company is they just added 2 smoke detectors and tied it into their monitoring system. I mean, we could have gone to Walmart and bought some smoke detectors and put a couple of them up, but the problem is the monitoring. If something happens at 2 o'clock in the morning, fire department needs to be notified. So now we're all tied into that. And so that was a good result out of the Fire Prevention Week. It allowed us to kind of take a step back and look at our situation. And we've rectified that. Individual compliance efforts here. For the month of October, Tammy collected over $5,000. 71% of that was payroll tax. John was $39.67. 90% of that was net profit tax. And Denny had $8,159.26. That 74% of that was payroll tax for a total of about $17,000. So, and that's over and above, what just normally comes in. So it's always amazing to me that in October, which is our second busiest time of the year, due to the October 15th filing deadline, that they still are able to continue to pursue these these accounts for these additional monies, because we've got a mountain of mail that comes in October. So I think it's a very solid effort given the volume of work that we have. Electronic payment summary. Hang on just a second here. I seem to have lost that. Let me bring that back up here. There we go. Can everybody see that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So for October, 46,286.73 is what came in electronically. As is usually the case, 96% of that is over the web. Only 4% happens actually in the office. It's a little surprising because of October and all the net profit payments we're getting in, but still payroll was the largest in October. That was a little bit unusual. As is always the case, 95% or better is e-checks, and then you can see the splits with the different cards there. So just a little snapshot of taxpayers love to make these payments electronically over and through our website, by the way. Let's see here. Any questions on any of that before we get into the collections data?
No.
No, sir.
All right. So let's go to the monthly collection stats. October was not a good month. We were down overall over $1 million, which is a 20% decrease. You can see the city down 21%, 456,000. The county 497, which is 20%. The school board fared a little bit better, only 105,000 down, which is only 17%. But for what is usually a big month for us, that was kind of a shocker that we were down so much. We dug into this and we've come up with about 5 major factors. One of them was it's the issue we have periodically throughout the year. October 2023, we had 2 payroll payments from our largest employer. October 2024, we only had 1. So that was a big part of it. Also, we were down, which was a little surprising. Net profit and net profit P&I about $64,000. Also, I mentioned the electronic payments that the payroll was larger than the net profit, which is unusual for October. I went back and looked at October 2023 electronic payments, and we had over $100,000 in electronic payments in 2023. So, that's a $54,000 decrease there as well. There's also, I attached to the email that I sent to everybody last Friday, some links regarding tax relief. Because of the disaster recovery efforts that the IRS have, they have extended tax filing deadlines. So we're thinking part of it is also that we just didn't get in October what we'd normally get because people have a lot longer to file. Some of them, we may not see that money till February of 2025. So here's the links on that. Essentially what it comes down to is people that would normally file October 15th, they have either November 1st or February 3rd, depending on where they are and if they had previously filed an extension. Or they had an original due date from June 17th through October 31st. So they had said 2, and I think, John, you said there's maybe a 3rd announcement too that's come out. So whenever this happens, rolling conformity, we extend those same deadlines to the taxpayers because frankly, if they don't have a federal return filed yet, they cannot even begin to calculate net profits with us. So that's why we follow those as well. So due to the mudslides, landslides, straight line winds, tornadoes, we've had a lot of disasters that befell us this year. So they're giving the taxpayers some relief. That could be a factor as well. And then the last one too, with our new general counsel starting on Monday, it's a reminder that we've been 8 full months without a general counsel. And I went back and looked, and in 2023, Jessica's collections, just her accounts alone, were $388,000. So I think that might have been a factor too as to why perhaps October was not quite as large as it would have been in years past. Certainly last year, a lot lower than last year. So any questions or observations on that?
Sounds like to me, Scott, that really outside of the last observation, the rest of them are kind of observations that would mean that this will all kind of come out in the wash. Maybe it's not this month, it's going to hit a different month or other months to where over time we see that level out, with the exception, and even with general counsel coming on, that should level out too, that they will be able to capture some of that.
Yes, and I can tell you, I think part of the extended deadlines we may have already seen, because as of yesterday, with yesterday's deposit, we're already a little over $200,000 over November of last year. So we're already recovering a little bit. We'll keep a close eye on it, but that was a real eye opener to be down that much after some of the months, and of course, we're also competing with the largest collection year in history. Now that we're in this year. So, but we are holding our own, and we'll look at that in the quarterly stats.
That's one of those things too. I think I shared with you, Scott, recently that, I've always been impressed by with you and your team is that when there's a question, you see these large numbers, okay, man, we're down. I wonder where that came from. And you gave us 4 or 5 reasons to help us to account for that and have a good understanding of where we are and why we are where we are. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other questions or observations before we move on to the quarterly collection stats?
Appreciate the insight.
All right. Okay. So this is basically the monthly numbers we just looked at. I plugged those in. So now, if you take out the 7.7 million, we're down $195,000 compared to last year. That's overall. That includes city, county, and school board. But as I mentioned, as of right now in November, we're already up over $200,000. So we're kind of running dead even when you take out the $7.7 million. But we're still up, obviously, with that huge net profit payment, $7.5 million. The city's up $3 million. 3.1 for the county and 1.2 for the school. I did update your distribution numbers, so this is what we've distributed to for this fiscal year thus far through the end of October as well. And we'll continue to monitor this. It is a little concerning, if you look up here, we started out really strong even with the $7.7 million net profit estimated payments, we still were, for July, $1.6 million over last year. That's how we started this fiscal year. Then August, we were still up, but not very much. And then we were down last month as well. And now we're down. And again, that's largely because we're competing against 2 payrolls from our largest payroll provider in 03 versus 04. So it's kind of a concerning trend that I see here, but we're going to keep an eye on it, and we'll continue to report to you like we did today, things that we see. But so far, as of the 18th, as of yesterday, we're over $200,000 over. So we're basically about dead even with last fiscal year when you take out the $7.7 million. I know that's a lot of numbers to throw at you, but what are your thoughts and or concerns or observations on that?
I'm like Billy. I'm hopeful that it'll all kind of level out as we go forward over the next few months. And, looking month to month, it's always better to look quarter to quarter, I think. Yeah. So, but we'll definitely keep an eye on it.
Absolutely. Okay, and then the last little piece here, we are officially, as of the end of October, 1,000 new accounts registered with us so far in this calendar year. You see that's down about 255 from last year at this same time. We're averaging 100 new accounts, so we'll probably wind up around 1,200, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, whereas we were, I think, at 1,398 last year. But you'll also see here with the closed, we're down about 218 fewer accounts closed this year than last year. So that kind of washes out a little bit. You can see for October, we had 98 new ones, only 27 closed as compared to 126 and 44. So still very solid and robust, be 10 months in and already be at 1,000 new accounts. That's pretty solid. And then I updated all these numbers on the last page here. Going back all the years, you can see here, we're kind of getting back in terms of the closed accounts back in the 2020 prior, in that, 400 to 500 range, the kind of the normal range. We had 3 years here, 21, 22, and 23, where we were doing a lot of account cleanup, if you'll recall. So kind of getting back in the normal range. And John ran the new fresh report, and we're now officially over 10,000 open active accounts. 10,202 is the number. So that's a lot of open and active accounts.
Very good.
Any questions on any of that?
None from me.
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right. I think that takes care of general discussion. So now we just need to talk about our December meeting. The fourth Wednesday in December is the 25th. I don't think that's going to work for anybody. So we could maybe back it up a week and do the 18th. What's everybody's holiday travel plans? What's it looking like? And just for reference, last year our December meeting was on the 13th, which is a Friday this year. But so we did back it up a couple weeks last year.
I'm looking at the 18th, and for me, the 18th would work.
Okay. Yeah, that would work for us as well.
18th's fine with me.
Okay, I'm checking. I believe that'll work for me too. The 18th, yes.
Okay. All right, then the 18th it is. We'll make that adjustment and send out an invite to everyone, and that'll be the first time you'll get to meet our new general counsel. And probably the main topic of discussion next month is going to be our mid-year budget adjustment, so we can start make that adjustment for the January expense payments moving forward. So we'll be reviewing that in December. That'll be the main topic of discussion.
Gotcha.
John, unless I'm missing something, I think that's all we have this month.
I believe that is it.
Would there be a motion to adjourn? And
So
happy
moved.
Thanksgiving to all. So we got a
So moved.
motion, second.
I'll second that.
With that said, all those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.